welcome back to my channel and welcome to my January 2025 Bujo setup. I absolutely love this setup and especially my theme that I picked for it, which you'll see in a little bit. But before I got into the theme, I set up a little bit of like a Q1 or, January winter kind of dashboard spread. So first up I have is my winter reading list. I did spread this out over 2 pages and essentially kind of highlighted the 14 books that I am really excited to read over the next 3 months. So everything from like January through to about the end of March. Obviously, I am a huge Fourth Wing fan, so Onyx Storm is there. Emma Lord's new book, Spiral, the new like Scythe and Sparrow, which is part of like the Ruinous Love trilogy, the last one. A couple of new ones to me, a couple of old ones, debuts, but essentially all the books, 14 of the books I should say, not all of them, that I am looking forward to reading over the next few months. And then just continuing on with my stickers that you would have seen in my 2025 setup at the beginning of this journal. I do have another one of those lovely melanated ladies reading a book. And then I also included my winter bucket list in here. So essentially just things that I wanted to do. Another one of my melanated ladies is going there, and keeping the spread super, super simple. The sticker, things to do, and then I just put out the 7 spots for me to include pictures in. So this was a spread that honestly took me maybe like 5 minutes to set up, but it's actually one of my favorites to fill out. I know I talked a lot about like memory keeping and everything else, but the things to do spread is a really easy way for me to think of a couple of things that I want to do over the season or over 3 months, like visit a museum, go see a movie, try a new restaurant, have a self-care day, things like that, and just put it there. And when I do it, I take a picture of it on my phone, print out a Polaroid for it, and stick it into the book just to kind of like memorialize and keep it. And after that, I got to my January spread. So my theme, or kind of what I was thinking of the entire time, was kind of a Windows 98 theme, kind of like a retro computery theme, if that makes sense. So you do see elements of that throughout the spread. And then also, because it is the beginning of a new year, I did say, are you ready to start a new chapter? Kind of like really stood out to me as something that's kind of like happening this year. It's the new year, it's the new chapter. My birthday is also in January, which is always kind of like another reset for me. It's like 3 weeks into the year, and it's like another reset, another new chapter, another year of life ahead. But essentially, that's kind of like was my thought for this, just Windows 98, the first kind of computer system that I remember using, as well as just kind of like a new start, or kind of like a computer program, and being like, what do you want to click next? So I do have my calendar there, my little are you ready to start a new year. January was lots of elements of like the mouse clicker thing, I don't even know, the arrow, I guess you could call it, selecting different things. And then I added kind of like a little airdrop button in there as well, which you guys will see in a little bit. I really enjoyed setting this up. I found it was just kind of like fun and really forced me to try and do something else or something new, I guess, in my spread. I did spend 2024 using a lot of Geogami paper, and I think for this year I want to do a little bit more elements where I am trying to draw. I personally feel as if I cannot draw to save my life, but it's one of those things that I know that I'm not going to get better at it unless I try. So I guess I'm putting it out there that you will be seeing me try to draw a little bit more this year. It will not always be perfect. For example, I am drawing all these little file folders here on my second page to create like a calendar for each month, and so that I could write down kind of like what's happening in that month. And they're kind of wonky. They're not my best work, admittedly. And you can see later on they start to look a little bit better as well. But essentially, I just wanted to set up a month at a glance page, and I really hemmed and hawed on whether or not I actually wanted to include one of these. But I do really value having a page in my notebook for like what I am doing next month, what I want to focus on, 3 things to do that month as well. And then just, still trying to incorporate that kind of computer element in it with my January plans in the search bar, as well as an alarm for my birthday. And then I moved into my habits and mood spread. And it's kind of funny. At the beginning of last year, I definitely thought that I was someone who would not like a habit or mood spread. I thought that it was not for me. But I have quickly realized that it's actually something that I really value and enjoy. The habits and mood spreads, they keep me on track. It's a very visual way for me to see what is going on. My mood tracker, I do not always like consistently fill out, but it is good when I know. It's a good reminder to like pay attention to what is making me feel a certain way. So if I'm noticing that I'm feeling down a couple times in a month, I try to make sure that I at least note that there, so that I could be like, okay, your mood was off on this day, and this day, and that was kind of affecting it. Having the habits there as well is also really good, I find, because I could see kind of like a correlation between the two. If I am feeling sad and down and just generally unwell, there's a chance that I am not going to be doing something else during the day. Like one of my habits that I want to do might fall off, such as exercise. I am notorious for canceling a workout if I am not feeling it. So just kind of paying more attention to that and seeing kind of what is going on there. Essentially, for my mood tracker, I had the idea that I was just going to color in a different file folder for each day of the week. Each day of the month, sorry. So I have my cute little key there with my smiley face to sad face and like the range for the different colors. And then I decided that I was just going to color in like a folder. Fingers crossed I master them by the end of the month, but color in a little folder for each, like how I'm feeling on each separate day. And after that, I got into this lovely little memory keeper spread. So a big thing that I wanted to do with this was just, again, keep it simple, but still leave room for me to highlight the memories and keep with my theme. So I put like a little loading bar because over the course of the month, I have new memories that are loading. I then added also these little like file folders in, and as you can see, they already are starting to look better than before and look more file folderish as opposed to my cover page. But essentially highlighting like winter 25 experiences, pictures, things like that. After that, I got into a content spread. So I really hemmed and hawed on whether or not this was going to be here. So I really think that I am trying it out for this month and then seeing if it's something that I continue doing moving forward. I did add in a more in-depth content spread with like my 2025 setup. So I don't know if it's exactly something that I am going to continue doing in my monthly setups, but I'm thinking for January, we're going to give it a go. We're going to see if it makes sense. The reality is 2025 setup had a lot of it was like very YouTube specific, but I do post elsewhere like Instagram, TikTok, all that fun stuff. So I feel like I might potentially like this, but I also might not end up using it. I also love how I totally misspelled YouTube there at the beginning. Like there's an E on it, but whatever. But yeah, this essentially is my content spread. Leaving it in the journal for January. It may not make it past January, to be totally honest, depending on how much I use it, but we shall see. And then I got into my January weekly spreads. So I flip-flop between doing a different kind of like layout and spread per week in a month, or keeping it the same for an entire month. And for January, I opted to do essentially the same thing for all 5 weeks of the month. I would have loved to come up with a different kind of like a spread for everything, but I am also a little bit burnt out right now and just didn't really have it in me to pull out and think of like 5 different layouts and how I was going to make it work for the theme and everything else. So I opted to do the same thing. And sometimes that is the simplest but the best thing. I have a lot going on this month and I really wanted to focus on just like planning and actually making the notebook functional as opposed to trying like a new layout and it just not working. But we might have something new for February. You'll just have to check on that video and see. So essentially all I did was created a calendar at the side so I know what week of the month we're working with. I also have those 7 small boxes across the top for each individual day that I can write down like appointments and stuff that I have. And then the bigger boxes are to highlight specific things happening or things that I need to do. I don't do a daily to-do list. I find that I do not function well with those. I will put stuff off. I'm very much like kind of like go with the vibe and the mood. So instead I opted to have tasks, notes, and brain dump just as my little sections there and called it a day. So that essentially is my January and Q1 setup. I love kind of how the theme turned out and everything else, and I'm excited to tackle some of these things over the course of the next few months. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, and let me know if there's anything that you're really excited for coming up in the next few months, or any ideas that you guys have for themes or even resources for how I could learn to draw better. But until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful month. I'll chat with you soon.